Hey everybody, this is math for Monday, May 4th. And I have not actually, it's actually Friday when I'm recording this, so I have not graded math tests, and I don't know if anybody got on half sets or not. So for today's video, when I say if you're on half sets, it's because I don't know yet. But you will know by the time you see this video. All right, lesson 128, adding and subtracting mixed numbers. When we add and subtract mixed numbers, we have to make sure that they have the same decimals. Just like we learned last lesson, it applies adding and subtracting fractions no matter what. Today we're going to be dealing with mixed numbers. So say we have 3.5. And we want to add 1 1/6. Okay, we look at the fraction part of each number, and just like we learned yesterday, we look at our smaller number and say, can I multiply that by something to turn it into a 6? Why, yes, I can. What can I multiply it by? I can multiply it by 3, and whatever I do to my denominator, I must do to my numerator. And I'm going to show you how I rewrite that down here. So I leave my whole number the same. That's not affected at all. 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And then I just leave the second number the same. And that means we're in the same shape, same denominator. And then I'm going to add. So I first add my numerators. 3 plus 1 is 4. In adding and subtracting fractions, my denominator stays the same. So I have 4 6. And then 3 plus 1 is 4. Now, I can't leave it like that because I need to reduce. So I'm going to keep my whole number. And then I'm going to try to think what number can go into both 4 and 6 to reduce them. Okay? So we know that 2 can, so we'll do that. Divided by 2 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So we have 4 2/3. Let's try another one together. These are fun. These are really fun. And right now we're still doing where we just have to change one of the denominators. We don't have to find like terms. Okay, I'm going to do a subtraction. So this is C. Well, that's just like what we did. I'm going to do D. And that is 2 3/4 minus 2 1/2. Okay, so let's look here. What denominator has a bigger number, the 4? What can I multiply 2 by to make it a 4? Well, we know that 2 times 2 is 4, so I'm going to multiply it by 2, and whatever I do to my denominator, I have to do to my numerator. Okay, I'm going to carry over my whole numbers. And the numbers I'm not changing, so I carry this 2 over. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Now I have to make sure I carry over the correct sign. This is subtraction. So make sure you're subtracting these problems. 3 minus 2 is 1. We know the 4 stays the same in addition and subtraction for fractions. And 2 minus 2 is 0, so I am actually left with 1/4. All right, so you guys, I want you to do A, B, G, H. A, B, G, H for your practice problems. And then this is set 128, so it is even or all, like I said, depending on if you have half sets or not. And if you are on even, I'm pretty sure, let's see if it, okay. If you're on even, I actually want you to do numbers 11 and 13 as your extra numbers for what we learned in the lesson today. Okay? If you're on all, then that will cover it anyway. Please let me know if you have any questions, and I can help you right away before moving on. All right. Math 76, your lesson today. You guys believe we are almost finished with our book. Now this is another estimating, which we all know is not my favorite. This is estimating square roots. Okay, we have practiced finding square roots of numbers, right? We know the square roots of our perfect squares. And so now we're going to try to figure out when we estimate, let me show you. They ask us, between which 2 consecutive whole numbers would you find the square root of 20? So consecutive whole numbers mean all the counting numbers with 0, okay? And they just go consecutively, not fractions, not negatives, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and above. Between which 2 consecutive whole numbers is the square root of 20? Well, let's think. We know our square roots that end up close to 20. We know that 4 times 4 is 16, right? The square root of 16 is 4. And we know that 5 times 5 is 25. The square root of 25 is 5. So they're asking between which two consecutive whole numbers is 20? So between what two counting numbers in a row as 20? Well, it's between 4 and 5. Do you see how we did that? By knowing what their square root is, we can figure out once we have the square root, that number would fit in between them, because not only does it fit between 16 and 25, but its square root fits between 4 and 5. Okay, so there must be a number between 4 and 5 that is a square root of 20. So we're going to try halfway through, literally. 4.5 times 4.5. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 is 22. Make sure to add my 0. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 2 is 18. Add that up. We have 25, 2, and then we have 2 places the decimal place needs to bump over. So bump, bump. So we have 20 and 25 hundredths. So that went over 20 a little bit. So that is too big. Okay, so 4.5 is too big. So we're going to just take it down a tenth. We're going to try 4.4 times 4.4. So this is how we estimate. We just kind of educatedly figure out what things are between and then multiply what it's close to. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 1 is 17. Add my 0. 4 plus 4 is 16. And then 17 again. Add it. We have 6. 6 plus 7 is 13. 7, 8, 9. Okay. And then 2 decimal points. So I have 19 and 36 hundredths. So we see that 4.4 is too small. So the square root of 20 is more than 4.4, but less than 4.5. But between the two, between 20 and 25 hundredths and 19 and 36 hundredths, okay, it is actually closer to the 20. So we're going to write that it's equal to, okay, so the square root of 20 belongs to a class of numbers called irrational numbers. Irrational numbers cannot be exactly expressed as a ratio because it just breaks up too much. So when we write this, we write equal signs with a wavy line, meaning it's approximately about this number. So we would say the square root of 20, here's our wavy lines, equal signs. And that means it's approximately about 4.5, okay? So I want you to, this is where it's gonna take some thinking skills. We're gonna try practice problems A and D together. A says the square root of 2 is between what two consecutive whole numbers? Well, we know that 2, the square root of 2 is going to be half of that. So it's going to be between actually 1 and 2, right? So then we're going, so that's all it wants us to say is 1 and 2. Actually, that's what all these answers want us to say. So I want you, and then D, square root of 60 and 70. Okay, which square roots do we know? Let's start with 7 times 7, 49, right? That's 7. 8 times 8, 64. So it fits right in there. It fits between 7 and 8. So you would say the consecutive numbers that is 7 and 8. Now it says, using a calculator, approximate each of these square roots. Okay, if you do not have a calculator, we're going to do just what we did here. If you do have a calculator, you absolutely can use it. Okay, so let's say I'm going to do H for you. Square root of 10. So we know that 3 times 3 is 9. We know that 4 times 4 is 16. So we're going to try 3 times 5, or 3.5 and 3.5. 5 and 5 is 25. 5 and 3 is 15 plus 2 is 17. 0, 15. I'm doing this kind of fast. 3 and 3 is 9, 10. Okay, so we have 5, 12, 2, 1. 1, 2. Did I bump that over enough? 5. Or do I feel like I have an extra number there? Let's see. 15, no, that's correct. But I don't feel like my decimal's bumped over enough. Let me try that again. 5, let me pause this and try that again. Okay, that was right. That super confused me, but it's too big, so now we gotta go smaller. So really, use your mom's. Your computer can have, they want you to use a calculator because you could sit here forever trying to figure this out. So use your mom's phone or a calculator, or there should be one on the computer. And let me see what, we all know that I don't, how I feel about estimating. So we're actually gonna look at where this is in the lesson. So number 16, you're going to do between which two consecutive whole numbers. So they just need you to list the two whole numbers. They actually do not have a problem. Let's see. Nope, they don't actually have a problem where you need to use a calculator. So I'm actually gonna have you just do practice problems. A, B, let's see, A, B, E, F, and that's all. A, B, E, F. Okay, practice problems, and then 128, all or even, and the even does include what we learned today. All right, awesome. Thank you guys. Let me know if you have any questions.